seen what is statistics, what is the utility of statistics in our work life, in our day-to-day life. Then we have seen certain definitions with respect to statistics. Some of the utility we have discussed yesterday. Its utility in FMCG, its utility in family budget, stock market, insurance industry, political campaigns. We have took example of USA and USSR or Russia. Okay, so features of statistics as a science. So there are certain steps in statistics how you reach to any conclusion. Like we have seen, there is a hypothesis that there are a lot of common sense which are available in market. Like we took example yesterday that like many people says, woman doesn't know how to drive. This is just a a rumor. But when you go to a proper step to verify whether this particular statement is right or wrong, so you have to go through a particular process, and that process is collection of data. Like we have discussed, we will make a questionnaire, or we'll give to survey. We'll go to police station where accident reports are written. When we go to NGOs, we go to many garages, wherever we get data, or who are our target audience, we go to that. We collect data. First we collect the data, then we organize that data into particular form which will make sense for us. Okay, then presentation of data, then we present in a such a way which will be easy to understand. Like we have collected data say from garages, and we have collected data from police station. Okay, then we have divided that data, organized that data in a such a way that this particular parameter like overspeeding will show accident, or this is a prime reason 70% of the accidents happens because of overspeeding. So we have seen how many women drive or exceed the speed. Okay, then we will see how many male exceed the speed. Out of the female who are exceeding the speed, how many of them met with accident. Same with the male. So we have organized data in a particular way which will make a sense for us. Now presentation of data, finally we will come to these four parameters are coming as a prime parameter, and these are the reasons for accident. Like we have organized, and presentation of data, these are the four factors. Here women are seen to be culprit, or here male are seen to be culprit, and out of 100 these many male are reason for accident, and female for reason for accident. So this presentation, anybody who is observing this data can make a sense from that data without knowing how we collected or what is reality or what is not. Even a common person who will see this data will able to make understanding from that data. This is what we call presentation of data, and this five process, or these five steps, is the most important steps for PhD process. Because PhD is what? PhD is exploring something which is unexplored. Okay, so these five steps are actually a PhD. So you start with the collection of data and you end with the interpretation of data. That's it. You will done with your PhD. Though these five steps are presented in a one slide, but this takes at least 5 to 6 years to complete this complete PhD process. At least 3 to 4 years. Then analysis of data. Once you make a data, you have to understand why people are in hurry, why people don't use helmet. Okay, why they break signals. So maybe you will analyze the data, how many people are breaking not following a signal rule, how many of them are overspeeding, how many of them don't use helmet, how many of them have rash driving. Okay, so some of the things we will make as analysis, that will be your knowledge. Okay, then interpretation of data. Finally you interpret the data and you come to the conclusion. Yes, male are more prone to accident, they are reason for overspeeding, most of the men drive rash driving, or something like that. Maybe like again what I'm saying is again common sense, but maybe after collecting a data you will come to some different conclusion which was never explored. Or maybe after collecting a data, maybe your hypothesis itself was right, but at least you will come to know that this is right and this is wrong with the surety. This is what a purpose of statistics. With data you prove something thing, with data you disapprove something. This is what we mean by statistics. So statistics has a worth or a capacity to prove or disprove something. Scope of statistics, like science, art, descriptive, inferential statistics, wherever you want to use, you can use a statistic. Statistics has a huge scope. Okay, like we discussed, function of statistics to present facts in definite form. This many people are doing this many people are not doing this. So this thing will be easy for you to take a decision. Okay, precision to the facts, exact fact. It's not that ki mota moti or average. No, it is about a particular fact. 73.4%, 73.4% only, because it is very precise. Okay, comparison is possible, forecasting is possible. So what do we mean by forecasting or utility of forecasting, especially for those people who are interested into marketing or distribution or sales? Okay, even for HR people. So what do you mean by forecasting? Let's take an example of forecasting. Suppose there is like a sweet shop. I think we took this example, so it will help us to understand forecasting part. So suppose you have a sweet shop, and sweet shop has certain seasons, like especially during Diwali, the sudden sale will spike. Okay, but if you know, in a food industry, the biggest problem is wastage. Okay, if you prepare something which you will not be able to sell, then this is 100% loss for you. So which nobody wants. So how can statistics help you to reduce the wastage and to make a maximum profit? Okay. Second situation will be, suppose there are more customers but you don't have a stock. This is also loss of stock, loss of customer. Because once customer goes to other shop, you don't know whether this customer will come back to you or not. So forecasting is very important. And why we see, you have a choice, like you can prepare in extra, considering that people will come to you. Okay, people will come to you, so you can prepare extra. But what if you are not able to sell it? Then it is a loss for you. It is a loss for you. And second thing, it is it will hamper your cash in hand. Like we have seen in a first semester, I guess, how you have to manage your investment. Okay, precisely how you can achieve efficiency. So to achieve everything, efficiency, to reduce the wastage, to reduce the loss of customer, you need to do a forecasting. So how can you do forecasting? There are various methods of forecasting, but for our understanding, or for for the sake of communication, we'll take one method as linear forecasting. Suppose you have taken a 5-year data, last 5-year data. Again, collection of data is the first part. You have collected data from last 5 years, or maybe you have seen like other competitors, how many of them are selling, what kind of quantity in every year. Maybe that figure will not be precise, but your own company figure will be definitely precise. So you take both the data into consideration. Then you organize the data year wise, product wise. Okay, which are sweet items, maybe gift items, okay, namkeen items. So you have organized the data to understand a particular product and its demand year on year. Then you will see year on year growth of particular product. Suppose first year you sold 100 unit, then you have sold 120 unit, then 142, 164. So you have seen 20% growth. You can assume every year you are getting in a particular quantity, or maybe in a particular product. And in a particular product you may have witnessed maybe degrowth, or maybe something is stagnant. So this is a presentation of data. You present this particular product has 20% growth, this data has 10% growth, this data has a degrowth, or this product is statistic. So you present data in such a form that management can easily take a decision based on the data. Okay, if this product is going by 20%, then like last year we have produced 200 units, so now we will produce 240 units. So this is very simple for you. Or maybe you can take little surplus, like instead of 20% you can go for 22-23%, so that last minute you will have certain extra amount, extra stock, which you can sell to customer by giving offer and something like that. Okay, because any of you already made a profit for 20% of growth, so remaining 3%, even if you sell at a gift, or even if you sell at offer price, you will make profit only. Analysis of data. Finally you make analysis of data, which are the product which you want to procure in a particular way, like because you have to also ensure about procurement of raw material. खोआ लेना है, sugar लेना है, oil लेना है, gas लेना है, वगैरह वगैरह. So you make analysis based on feasibility. So which are the things which are feasible, you make a decision, and finally you interpret the data and you come to the conclusion. So this is one of the function of statistics, that statistics help you to forecast the requirement in advance. Okay, forecast मतलब 3 महीने बाद, 2 महीने बाद, 6 महीने बाद, whatever things you are going to require, you make a plan in advance so that there will not be any issue at last moment. Okay, policy making, like policy making again a government decision. So suppose government has decided नई रोशनी scheme. Okay, so another case study, नई रोशनी is a scheme which is started by government for minority women. Okay, so government has seen obviously women are not getting equal economic opportunity, especially even if you go deep down you will see minority women like Muslim, Christian, minority women, Jain, minority women are again like behind even a normal woman. So obviously we need a special positive discrimination to ensure that minority women are also getting opportunity to grow in their life. So what government can do, government will go for again the same process. Okay, they will collect data, how many women in the minority segment are working, how many of them are educated, how many of them having option to start something. Okay, then we will collect data, present the data, analyze the data, interpret the data, and finally government comes with the policy that okay, maybe what they require, they don't require just economic support, what they require is a mental support too. So government has appointed some okay, seva women, they will go to this minority woman, they will convince them, come out of the home, do your own banking. Okay, don't depend on somebody, go to ATM, go to market, make online shopping, buy your daily needs on a online platform, use a smartphone. Okay, so something like that, so that they will not only get economic support but they will also get a mental support. So but how government come to the format how to approach a minority woman, because that is based on data. So once it is based on data, we will have a concrete numbers or concrete steps which need to follow to overcome the issue. So this is how government use statistic techniques to make policies. Okay, enlarges knowledge. Obviously, as I said, there are a lot of common sense in the market, maybe which is not common to everyone. So some people have a different opinion, some people have a very completely 360 अपोजिट डिफरेंस, नहीं नहीं ऐसा होता ही नहीं है, नहीं नहीं ऐसा होता ही है, मैंने देखा है, हमने बाल धूप में नहीं सफ़ेद किए वगैरह वगैरह. लाइक एवरीबडी हैज़ देयर ओन chunk of knowledge which they want to prove. So what we can do here, we can assure about a particular fact. How? By following the techniques which we have just discussed, 5 steps. If you do that steps, that is what statistical technique. So if you follow 5 steps, you will come to know exact thing which is happening on a reality. To measure uncertainty, like we have discussed about Kerala flood. Okay, this is again like uncertainty, like nobody knows what is going to happen next year, but obviously you can measure uncertainty, like at least you can prepare yourself. How many houses are lost in the last year, how many assets are lost, how many lives have been lost, so what are the issues which we are facing from year on year. So maybe you can take each factor, or you can go to those who are victims or who have seen these floods from very closely, or some of the relatives who lost their family member. So you can collect the data, and ultimately you can make some kind of strategy to avoid any loss. Maybe you cannot control a flood to that extent, but at least you can control a loss. Okay, establishes relation between facts, like we have said. Okay, one where we have a fact, one where we have an event. So you can say that, like let's take an example of weather forecasting about a monsoon. So obviously what we are doing, many a time we have, like even today nobody is sure about Indian monsoon. Okay, nobody is sure about Indian monsoon, but still we have observed certain variables which lead to monsoon, either early monsoon or late monsoon or slow monsoon or very heavy monsoon. Okay, so something is there which we are doing year on year. So how we are doing, we are relating these variables with the fact. Okay, with trying different variables, we are like if these things are happening, like various variables are there, if these variables are happening, then obviously that particular year there will be rain will be very high. If these variables are not happening, rain will be very low. So this is how we are looking from years together, and finally we'll reach to particular conclusion. So again, what we have did, we did a fact about data about different factor variables, and then we have tried to apply this on a fact, and we are realizing their relationships. Helps other science in testing their laws. As I said, suppose आपने like you have made any law, like let's take example of a recent law, another case study, maternity benefit law. Okay, you must have heard about it. If you have not heard about, please do read about it. Maternity benefit law 2017 or 18, government has recently launched it. So what happened, government has launched this particular law to ensure that women, like data says 30% of women leaves their job during pregnancy to join never, right, to join never. Maybe there are like many women who leave their job, but ultimately they join their job once they are done with all the responsibilities. But 30% of women never joins a job, thinking that now kid is small, now their schools are there or something like that, like they lost the time, now market doesn't have opening for them, they have a very big gap, or family also doesn't want them to job, like why you are working, I have a handsome salary, so something like that. Okay, so government has observed this, and they have decided to launch a program which will ensure that woman doesn't leave her job during pregnancy. So what was that program? That instead of 12 weeks of leaves, you will get a 26 weeks of leaves. Okay, official, you will get 26-week leave to complete your pregnancy process. Okay, that is enough period, according to again research, that is enough period to take care of your baby, and after that you can join a same job, so that you don't have a responsibility to find a job. And if you know that you already have a job and you have to join within 26 weeks, there is a high chances that you will also not go into negative part, that I am not going to go, or nobody can force you for that. So government has came with this very beautiful law, that woman should not be in a condition where she have to leave a job just because of pregnancy. A very well motivated job. Okay, motive was very good, but ultimately when you go to the result part, we have seen that 3 lakh jobs has been lost by women because of this maternity benefit law. Because employer, suppose you are an employer, you are giving a job to woman, and you have an option of male also. So what you will think, you will always be giving preference to male, because you don't have to give him a 26 days leave, 26 weeks leave. Okay, male will be completely focused towards work because this is his priority, whereas woman has a lot of priority, family, job, baby, elder people of a family, okay, other household work, then job. So maybe people normally think that she has a diverted attention towards a job. Job is one of the part of her life, it is not her life, whereas for male it is life. Second, we don't have a parental law, so parental leave law, so he doesn't have any responsibility towards pregnancy. Okay, so government has again observed that with this law, if you go to statistical number, actually women has lost their job. Our last year labor participation rate was only 23%. That means out of 100, only 23% women are participating into a labor law or employment. So that means what? Most of the women are out of the economic activity, or household activity are not counted into economic support. They are not part of GDP. IMF has recently made a statement that if Indian women also starts contributing equally as men are contributing, then Indian GDP can grow by 27%, which is big number. Okay, India's GDP, like compared to world, India's GDP is the 5th largest GDP now. 5th largest. Only 4 countries are ahead of us. Okay, imagine if we can surplus another 2 GDPs. Maybe US and China are far from us. Like we are on a 2.7 trillion GDP. USA is at 18.5 trillion GDP and China is at 11.5 GDP. But at least like what target we have set for ourselves, like if you know anybody, by 2040 24 we have decided to touch a five be a 5 trillion economy. Due to pandemic, maybe we will not be able to achieve that, but at least we have a target. Okay, so we can achieve those targets by looking at or taking help of statistics. What are the things which are pulling India down? Okay, like woman contribution, or maybe we don't have presence in manufacturing industry, maybe we don't have presence in export. Make in India product doesn't have the respect because of, like, agriculture food, maybe use of fertilizer, pesticides, we don't have acceptance in foreign market. So understanding different data, preparing different ways to get that image, we can achieve a vital economy. So these are some of the functions of statistics. Okay, importance of data statistics, they are same, like we have discussed: education, banking, science, politicians, economic planning, agriculture, industry, administration, policies. Everywhere statistics has a presence. Limitations क्या है, ये थोड़ा सा important है. What are the limitation of statistics? Study of numerical facts only. See, like we took example of women are not participating into economic activity. Here you can see we are considering only one factor, that is economic activity. See, I am not supporting particular thing or I am not rejecting particular, but just to prove a limitation of statistics, it studies only about numerical number. So while going through economic number, we have not observed importance or role of economic activity and increasing stress. Okay, if both the family members are going for a work, again only one member of a family taking care of a family, okay, without sharing the responsibility. Economically they are sharing the responsibility, but when it comes to household item, they are not sharing the responsibility. So in that case, maybe children will get a little attention from parents, maybe woman will have a double burden. She has to look for economic activity as well as household activity. Everyone knows or everyone observed that. Okay, सुबह 10 बजे दोनों wife और husband job चले गए, they joined the job. By 6 or 7 they come back to home, and after coming to home, maybe husband will start a TV and he will watch a cricket or like one of his favorite TV program, and wife will go to kitchen. Okay, so economically they have shared the responsibility, and again, like by 10 o'clock he may wake up at 9 o'clock or 9:30 and he will get ready and he will get a tiffin and he will leave for office. But the woman will have to wake up at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, she have to prepare food for everyone, she have to clean the house, she have to give a tiffin to children, okay, she have to give milk to elderly people, or preparing breakfast, preparing tiffin. So by managing everything, she have to leave the office. So these things are not considered in statistics. So statistics is only about quantitative part, they never touch a qualitative part. Okay, like number of suicides which are happening because of extreme stress. Okay, India is the second obese country, or obesity is again little bit a lifestyle, it's about lifestyle disease. Okay, late night meal, like low physical activity, extreme stress, okay, unhygienic food, sugar or ready to eat food, Maggi, maida, bakery foods. Why we are going for such foods? Because we don't have a time. 2 minute Maggi. Okay, so these some of the things which you have, these are the things which are always neglected by statistics, or statistics doesn't have scope to include qualitative part. They are interested only into quantitative parts, that is numerical numbers. Okay, they consider only fact which you can see, which you can observe, which you can touch. If something which you cannot touch, which you can observe, that is not a fact for statistics. Okay, whereas there is a non-positivism second school which says that statistics is always a partial reality. Okay, they never show you the real figure. Like we have seen, in a class, average marks is a 60%. Okay, out of 100, average number of students have scored 60 marks. But maybe there can be a people who have scored 90 marks, and there can be people with 20 marks. Average is good, 60, but there is a huge difference between the topper and the other students. Okay, so statistics is not a full proof reality, it is a partial reality. Definitely you can use it, but you cannot always depend on statistics. Okay, like we have taken this example, three boxes are there, you have to choose one box, okay, and there is a 2 lakh rupees. Maybe you can say that 2 lakh rupees is not going to make any difference in my life, or I am a risk averse. More the risk, more the profit. Okay, this is established fact. More the risk, more the profit. So maybe person will say that even it is a 33% probability, I will go with my game. In fact, many of you have thought, must have thought yesterday that you will go with that box. But yesterday we will, in a support of statistics, that's why we said ki probability says that taking 2 lakh rupees is more better than playing for 5 lakh rupees. Homogeneity of data. Okay, so same data, like maybe that is not enough to make a decision. Okay, so you need a various data to come to the conclusion. Maybe like we have seen, if it is a sweet shop, you will take only your shop data. You are not considering competitor data because you don't get the data. Okay, you are not considering a public data. Like public data said maybe this year public had lockdown and they don't have money to buy a switch, so you are not considering that. So homogeneous data, like instead of homogeneous data, you need a diverse data to reach a conclusion. But diverse data will lead to diverse confusions. Okay, and you will not reach to conclusion. But that is a again inherent issue with statistics. Can be used by only experts. It is not for a common people. Qualitative aspects are ignored, like we have talked about. They include only quantitative aspects. Qualitative aspects are completely ignored. It does not depict entire story of phenomena, like we have said. It is only a partial reality. Okay, it is not full proof reality. Misuse of statistics is possible. बहुत अच्छा एग्जाम्पल है मिसयूज ऑफ स्टैटिस्टिक्स. Indexing, like we are going to see indexing in a next slide or in today's class, but still before we go for indexing I will explain you indexing. What is indexing? Indexing means क्या होता है, एक base year decide करते हैं. You decide one base year and based on that base year you compare the number. Okay, like suppose Mr. Ramesh had 100 rupees salary in 2010. Okay, so now you want to see how much he has grown in 2018 or 2014. So 2014 his salary was 150 rupees. So he has grown 50%. Okay, but in 2018 his salary was 200 rupees. So he has grown 100%. So why we take a base year? To compare our salaries over a period of time. Okay, with Ramesh we had also Suresh. Suresh also had 100 rupees salary in 2010, but in 2014 his salary was 120 rupees, and in 2018 his salary is 220 rupees. So now with a base year you can compare their individual growth compared to each other. Okay, but many a time we have seen that people change a base year. People change a base year and complete figure will change. Like recently you must have heard about GDP growth. Okay, a war between BJP and Congress, or like they were discussing about this. During Manmohan Singh, Congress has continuously said our growth was in double digit. Okay, that was around 10 plus GDP growth. But after 2014 we have never touched or never crossed 6 to 7% of GDP growth. Okay, why? But based on same 2005-2006 base year. But in 2017 or 18 BJP has changed a base year to 2011 and 12, and figures are completely different, because 2012 and 11 and 12 figures were very big, and based on that BJP has said Congress never achieved a 10% growth. Definitely their growth will also come down, further down in fact, but they are saying compared to 2011 and 12 base year, Congress has never touched that growth. So that's why, like you must have seen, many economists has raised their voice saying that base year has been changed. It's a statistical error, statistical confusion. So definitely people are not aware about this indexing, this base year. So it can be misused by experts. One more example to understand index. See, every day we read this number that Sensex has grown by this point, Sensex has down by this point. What is the use of Sensex to a common person like you and me, those who don't invest in share market? Okay, Why we have to be worry about a Sensex number? Because again it is index number. Index number means 1980. Suppose 1980 we have started our share market and you invested 1 rupees into share market. Okay, and now market is at say 54,000 rupees. That means if you have invested 1 rupees in 1980, your value should be 54,000 now. Okay, this is average growth. Suppose at the same time in 1980 you bought a land, okay, and now price is say 40,000 rupees. That means maybe you have made a profit from 1 rupees to 40,000 rupees, but compared to market you are in a loss. Okay, how can we understand this? By understanding indexing. Okay, go to base year, compare a base year with your present situation, then you will understand your exact position, whether you are in profit or loss. And this is possible because of statistics. But many a time by changing a base year, by changing a method, by changing a technique, you can have a completely different data. Okay, like recently had one same incidents. Okay, so there was two people from two different companies. They were saying one was offering 20% margin and other was offering 16% offer. Okay, but retailer was saying I had a same margin, like I had a same landing rate for both the margins. You are saying 20%, you are saying 16%, but your MRP is same, but the landing price which I am getting a price which is same. How can it is possible? It is just misuse of statistical technique or mathematical techniques. The person who was saying a 20% profit, he was actually giving marginal markup. Markup means suppose you have bought things at 100 rupees and you are supposed to sell this thing as 120 rupees. That means you will make a 20% profit. But the moment I go for reverse calculation, that is I take 120 rupees as a base, then my profit will not be 20%. Then my profit will be 16-17%. Okay, like what I'm saying, if you are getting confused, see, 120 rupees का 100 rupees कितना percent होता है? This is around 18%. But 100 rupees का 120 is 20%. So whether you are calculating profit on 100 rupees or 120 rupees, that will make a difference in percentage. Okay, but just by using a mathematical technique, you can fool the people. Okay, maybe that retailer was a well aware person. That's why he checked the landing rate. Otherwise, many of the people don't check the landing rate and they will just say कि मेरे को 20% मार्जिन आ रहा है, आप 60 दे रहे हो, I will not buy from you, I will buy from somebody else. But actual reality is both of them are giving same profit. Results are truly only on average. Results are true only on average. Like we said, 60% marks. Maybe there are 20%, 20 people, 20 marks with some students. Maybe there are some students with 90 marks. So they are just an average. They are not complete reality. Statistical results are not always beyond doubt, only means and not a solution. So as I said, don't completely depend on statistical number. Okay, they are there to help you to take a decision. Number itself are not decision. See, that's why we are getting a number from MIS and then we are giving it to management to decide. Agar number itself is a decision, then maybe MIS person can take a decision. Why we require a management? Okay, a role of management is to take quantitative factors as well as qualitative factors in a consideration before taking a decision. Okay, so these are some of the limitations of statistics. Collection of data, primary data or secondary data. See, primary data is what which you collect. Okay, and secondary data is which is already available. मतलब क्या है? Suppose आपने decide किया कि you want to do a survey on whether women are responsible for accidents or not. Okay, or women are more prone for accidents, something like that. Okay, or their driving skills are comparatively low. कोई भी एक hypothesis बना दिया आपने और इसको अभी टेस्ट करना है. सो सेकेंडरी डेटा में भी जो डेटा ऑलरेडी किसी ने बुक लिख के रखा होगा इस पर, किसी ने ऑलरेडी एक रिसर्च करके रखा होगा, किसी ने ऑलरेडी कोई रिसर्च पेपर लिख के रखा होगा, और मे बी देर इज समबडी, सम NGO is there, they have already done some survey on this part, or they are working on this part. So whatever data they have, you can again use that data, because why to reinvent the wheel? If already done a research or already done a survey on particular thing, why you have to waste the time doing the same thing? Okay, so using somebody else data is secondary data. The only thing is that person might have collected data based on his or her requirement. Now you are using the same data which may be differ from your requirement. So secondary data has certain advantages and disadvantages, but if it is matching with your requirement, you can definitely use that data. That is why we say, why to reinvent the wheel when it is already invented by somebody else. So this is secondary data. Primary data is first time you are collecting that data for your research purpose. Okay, so research can be based on secondary data, research can be based on primary data. So what kind of method you are using, that decides your type of data you are using for your research purpose. So maybe you can write, I have used primary data, that means 100% of data is collected by you, and there is a more authenticity attached with that data. Secondary data, then we have to compare whether the data which is collected, maybe that data is collected in 2016, or that second data will not be valid in contemporary period. Okay, because economic situation change हो चुका है, world पूरा change हो चुका है उसके बाद. Okay, mentality of people has changed. Now they are going for little bit of saving. एक टाइम था people were never used to save. If you are into a market, or if you understand a market from last 2 months, January and February, like you asked any retailer, you asked any business person, what was your business or how was your business in January and February, it was very 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 low. Like people have not done even a 40% of their business. Why? Because there was a fear of another lockdown, and people have observed in last 2 years that during lockdown they are short of money, they don't get salaries, they don't get savings, people will never return their money, and things get costly. Okay, and somehow your consumption will also increase because you're idle at home. So many reasons they have seen, that's why they spend money with a caution. Okay, but maybe like before COVID, people were never bothered about saving, and January, February were a common month like any other month. But now January, February, March are comparatively, like March is yet to be observed, that's why I have not included March. But every year in these months only we have seen lockdown, and this period is very very difficult for any common person to survive. That's why people were not buying anything, they are completely saving money whatever way they can save. And since they were not going to market, they are not buying anything, business was down. And since business were down, people were not making any profit, there was low business activity, low production, low jobs, and that cycle is vicious cycle will continue. Okay, so primary data is something which you collected for your purpose, for your research purpose. So there is more chances that that data will be more relevant to research. Secondary data, we have to see certain factors about secondary data, whether that secondary data is completely useful for your research or not. So this is about collection of data, primary data and secondary data. Okay, observation method, like some of the methods through which you can collect data. Observation method, like आपने देखा होगा कि many a time what researcher do, they actually be a part of that group to whom they are going to research. Okay, और उस group में रहकर वो देखते हैं कि what are their culture, what is their habits, how they do particular activity, so on and so forth, and this is how they take a data. So they observe the people and they take the data. Okay, interview method, like you have a questionnaire and you just ask a question. Interview से पूछते हैं आप कि ये क्या है, वो क्या है, and somehow you go for open questionnaire, one-to-one questionnaire, customized questions for every person, and you collect data. Questionnaire, common questionnaire, you circulate the questionnaire and you just get data from different people without meeting them. Schedules filled through enumerators. Okay, आपके behalf में कोई जाता है और वो collection लेकर आता है, वो data लेकर आता है आपके लिए, and you then use that data. So these are the some of the methods through which you collect the data. ठीक है, ऑब्जर्वेशन मेथड हमने देख लिया है, बट ऑब्जर्वेशन मेथड इज समटाइम वेरी डेंजरस. इफ यू नो, देयर वाज अ पर्सन फ्रॉम US, ही वेंट टू अंडमान निकोबार टू कलेक्ट द डेटा बाय यूजिंग ऑब्जर्वेशन मेथड. वहाँ पे एक आज भी ट्राइब है विच इज़ वेरी 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 एंशियंट ट्राइब. ओके, उन्हें आज भी पता नहीं है कि अंग्रेज़ वापस चले गए. लाइक दे आर स्टिल नॉट अवेयर वेदर इंग्लिश पीपल आर देयर इन इंडिया और नॉट. even after 150 years, because they are not in a contact with our society. वो जो ट्राइबल पीपल आपको याद है ना, जो फिल्मों में दिखाया करते थे, सेम वही वहाँ पर आज भी है. दे डोंट हैव अ लैंग्वेज, दे डोंट हैव एनी टच विथ द पीपल हु आर अराउंड अस. ओके, वो अपने अपने आइसोलेशन में रहते हैं, एंड दे आर लिविंग अ कम्प्लीटली नेचुरल लाइफ विच यू यूज टू लिव 1000 ईयर बिफोर. ओके, आज भी वैसे ही खाना खाना, शिकार करना, like entire purpose is to go for hunting and arrange a food, that's it. So वहाँ पे आज भी like even today they don't accept any external person. Okay, and they consider them as a threat. Okay, so there was English person who wanted to understand that tribe, and he went there without taking government permission. Okay, and the moment he got on that particular island, like they have observed him that some external entity has entered into an area, our area, and through arrow they killed them. They killed that person. Okay, so observation method is sometimes dangerous, and it is unethical too, because see, research में क्या है, if you tell a person that I am going to observe you, obviously they will behave in a socially accepted norm. But if I don't tell him that I am observing him, this is unethical. Okay, so that bias will be always there. If I tell him that I am observing you, he will behave in a socially accepted behavior. वो real life में रहेगा ही नहीं. Okay, he will show something very goody picture. But if you tell him that I am going to observe you, then maybe like if I am not saying him that I am going to observe you, that means you are doing unethical work. You are observing somebody without their permission. Okay, so observation method is always in dilemma whether to tell them or whether not to tell them. ओके, फंडामेंटल ऑफ मैनेजमेंट में हमने केस स्टडी देखे, पवेलियन मोटिवेशन लॉ है ना, उसमें हमने देखा था कि, और हॉथन एक्सपेरिमेंट हमने देखा था, हॉथन एक्सपेरिमेंट, उसमें हमने देखा था कि अगर एम्प्लॉयज़ को बता दिया जाए कि मैनेजमेंट से कोई आने वाला है, तो ऑब्वियसली एवरीबडी विल हैव अ फॉर्मल क्लोथ, वेल ड्रेस्ड, वेल शेप्ड. बट और जब मैनेजमेंट आएगा उनको लगेगा कि डेली यही काम चलता है. ओके, बट यू हैव ऑलरेडी इन्फॉर्म्ड देम दैट समबडी इज गोइंग टू कम. So obviously they will behave in a particular way. But if you don't tell them that management is coming or not, it's sudden visit, you may get a reality. But again maybe that day was different from a regular day. Okay, only that day people were not aware about something, or they have taken things for granted. So Hawthorne experiment is certain variables. By changing a certain variables, you can change a end result which may not be directly related with product. Like light बढ़ा दिया, ओके, लाइट्स लगा दिए बहुत सारे, और अब हम ऑब्जर्व कर रहे हैं कि लोग कैसे जॉब करते हैं. अगर मैं उन्हें बता दूं कि मैं आपको ऑब्जर्व करने वाला हूं और आज मैं लाइट बढ़ाने वाला हूं, देखो आप कैसा काम करते हो, इररेस्पेक्टिव ऑफ वॉट एवर थिंग यू डू, दे विल इंक्रीज द प्रोडक्टिविटी बिकॉज दे नो दे आर गेटिंग ऑब्जर्व्ड. ठीक है, तो वैसे कर नहीं सकते. इफ आई डोंट टेल देम दैट आई एम डूइंग एक्सपेरिमेंट ऑन यू by changing different variables, I want to see how you work, that is unethical. Okay, you are observing somebody without their permission. You are recording the facts, or you are recording their activities without informing them. That is wrong. Like बहुत सारे websites आपका data collect करते हैं, without your permission they cannot collect your data. That's unethical. But the moment they will tell you that we are collecting your data for this purpose, what you will do? You will give all the good results. Okay, structure observation, unstructured observation. Structure observation क्वेश्चनर बनाया, प्रॉपर फॉर्मेट है, इस चीज़ के बाद हमें करना है, दैट इज स्ट्रक्चर्ड वे, मतलब एवरीथिंग इज प्री प्लान. ओके, अनस्ट्रक्चर मतलब कुछ नहीं पता, डायरेक्टली लोगों के बीच में चले गए और देखने लगे कि वो करते क्या है. ओके, पार्टिसिपेट ऑब्जर्वेशन, एज आई सेड, यू पार्टिसिपेट, यू बी अ पार्ट ऑफ दैट ग्रुप टू अंडरस्टैंड देयर लाइफ. ओके, जो यूएसए वाला था, ही वांटेड टू बी अ पार्टिसिपेट ऑब्जर्वेशन, ही वांटेड टू बी पार्ट ऑफ दैट group, and then he wanted to observe the people. Okay, like Avatar movie आपने देखा होगा, he become a person like the tribe, and then he record the their day-to-day activity, what are their likings, what are their dislikings, which are the things which they pray, which are the things they don't like. So participate observation is being the part of the program, phenomena or activity, and then observing the group. Non-participant observation obviously बाहर रह के देखो क्या चल रहा है. Okay, be a third person, not a part of group. Okay, interview method we have discussed. Personal interview, telephonic interview, video conference, various way you can take an interview from people. Questionnaire, ऑब्वियसली एक क्वेश्चनर बनाते हैं, यू मस्ट हैव फील्ड दिस क्वेश्चनर इन अ मॉल में बहुत सारे लोग अपना डेटा कलेक्ट करते रहते हैं, आपका इनकम कितना है, फैमिली में कौन कौन है, क्या क्या चीज़ें पसंद है, क्रेडिट कार्ड यूज़ करते हैं क्या, ये वगैरह वगैरह वगैरह. सो दे टेक, देयर आर सर्टेन एडवांटेजेस डिसएडवांटेज ऑफ क्वेश्चनर टू. ओके, प्राइमरी या सेकेंडरी डेटा हमने देख लिया था. क्लासिफिकेशन ऑफ डेटा, जैसे फ्रीक्वेंसी ऑफ डेटा टैबुलर फॉर्म में प्रेजेंट करना है, कैसे फॉर्म में, क्रोनोलॉजिकल फॉर्म में करना है, क्वांटिटेटिव वे में करना है, क्वालिटेटिव वे में डिफाइन करना है. सो डिफरेंट वे यू कैन प्रेजेंट योर डेटा. ओके, ये होता है फ्रीक्वेंसी डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन. लाइक 10 मार्क्स लेने वाले 5 स्टूडेंट्स हैं, 12 मार्क्स लेने वाले 6 स्टूडेंट्स हैं. सो ये जो 6 स्टूडेंट्स हैं, अगर आप देखोगे कि किसको 12 मार्क्स है तो सिर्फ एक ही बंदे को 12 मार्क्स है, क्योंकि 10 मार्क्स में तो ऑलरेडी 5 बंदे हैं. देर आर 5 पीपल ऑलरेडी देयर, 5 स्टूडेंट्स आर ऑलरेडी देयर हु हैव स्कोर्ड 10 मार्क्स. So there is only one student who have scored 12 marks. That's why that 5% plus 6% is 12%. 6% who are having 12 marks. So frequency will show how many people are below that. Okay, class interval, class frequency, okay, class limits. Class मतलब 0 to 20, 20 to 40, ये class हो गया. ठीक है, इस क्लास के बीच में कितने नंबर, कितने लोग हैं, कितने बार कितने लोग रिपीट हो रहे हैं. क्लास लिमिट्स क्या है, हायर लिमिट क्या है, लोअर लिमिट क्या है. Okay, I am skipping this because these are the examples only, and we have understood the example of how to collect or how to observe the data. Okay, this is how you can present your data. Different ways of presenting your data. ग्राफ्स बना लिए, कुछ लाइन ग्राफ बना लिए, है ना, पॉलीग्राफ बना लिए. थ्रू डिफरेंट वेज यू कैन शो योर डेटा. बार्स बना लिए, ओके, कंपाउंड बार्स भी है. सो दीज आर सम ऑफ द वेज यू कैन present your data which will be easy to understand. See why I ran these slides fast, because we wanted to touch probability, because probability is something which is very very core part of statistics, and without understanding probability, maybe like probability आपने solve किया भी होगा, probability आपने देखा भी होगा, and most of the interviews will have a first step, that is written examination, or that is qualitative aptitude test. You will get some question on probability. So probability is what? Probability is about you are trying to see what is the chances that particular incidents will happen or will not happen. Okay, so like there are 3 balls of a different colors, black, red and blue. So what is the probability that if I close my eyes and if I choose a ball, what is the probability that that ball will be a red? That is 1/3. ठीक है, 33% चांसेस है कि मैं रेड बॉल उठाऊँ. ओके, दिस इज अ प्रोबेबिलिटी. प्रोबेबिलिटी मीन्स what is a chances that particular activity will happen or particular activity will not happen. So this is very basic definition of probability, but this is not the end of probability. This is just understanding of probability की meaning क्या है. So probability and statistics कैसे related है, ठीक है. Probability is about sampling. मतलब suppose आप रिसर्च कर रहे हो कि how many students are happy by staying in a Pune and or liking Maharashtrian food. सपोज कोई MP से आया है, इंदौर से आया है, कोई राजस्थान से आया है, तो दे हैव अ डिफरेंट फूड टेस्ट. उड़ीसा से आया है, सबके अलग अलग अपने कुजीन होते हैं, सबके अपने टेस्ट होते हैं. ठीक है, महाराष्ट्रन फूड कितने लोगों को पसंद है, ये रिसर्च हमने करना स्टार्ट कर दिया. नाउ देर आर एटलीस्ट 2 लाख स्टूडेंट्स आर देयर इन पुणे. एटलीस्ट जहाँ तक मुझे पता है कम से कम 2 लाख स्टूडेंट्स तो होंगे पुणे में जो बाहर से आए हैं. ओके, now it is very difficult to meet all these 2 lakh people. So what we will do, we will take sample. Okay, sample मतलब हम क्या करेंगे, कुछ लोगों को select करेंगे as a sample and we will record their opinion and finally we will enlarge. लोगों का मैंने sample ले लिया, 20,000 people का जो भी डेटा होगा उसको मैं 2 लाख लोगों पे अप्लाई कर दूँगा. That is what we called sampling or applying that sampling to entire population. So population is total population, that is 2 lakh, and sample is 20,000. Okay, capital N जिसको हम पॉपुलेशन जो है कैपिटल एन में दिखाते हैं. कैपिटल एन इज 2 लाख पीपल, स्मॉल एन दैट इज सैम्पल दैट इज 20,000. सो भले ही वो 20,000 2 लाख ना हो, but what we do, we will consider for a time being, for while doing a research, that this 20,000 itself is a complete population. ठीक है, and we will try to collect data from them and then we apply this to complete 2 lakh. Problem क्या है? Where is a step where we have to consider about probability. ऐसी कौन सी जगह है या फिर ऐसे कौन सी चीज़ है जिसके वजह से probability की ज़रूरत पड़ सकती है? See, while selecting a sample, you have a different methods to select the sample. Here comes a role of probability. So probability will tell you what is the probability of selecting a particular type of sampling will give you more results or better results, or which will be applicable to all 2 lakh people. Like let's take an example. मैं ऑब्जर्व कर रहा हूँ कि हाउ मेनी पीपल आर लाइकिंग अ फूड, अ महाराष्ट्रियन फूड. ठीक है, दोज आर कमिंग फ्रॉम आउटसाइड. और समहाउ आई वेंट टू से कोथरूड एरिया and I have observed that most of the people, like 80% of the people, are from Rajasthan, and I took an interview with them and I considered and applied them to entire India. The results will not be right because South Indian people will have a more inclination towards rice. They need a more spicy food. If I go to North Indian, maybe they prefer not to have a more spicy food, but maybe they may like having a more oil into their food. Eastern people may be liking very a different kind of food item. Okay, maybe more of a sweet in nature, or maybe very a different food, like whatever may be their choice. So there are different people who have a different choice, but I have took only people from Rajasthan and I have applied it to throughout the India. That is not a right sampling. That will give me a false result. So what we are supposed to do here, we supposed to decide a kind of probability sampling we are using. So there are certain methods. First is a random sampling. Random sampling मतलब मेरे पास सामने 10 लोग खड़े हुए, मैं आंखें बंद करके किसी भी 2 लोगों को पूछ लूँगा and I will consider this as a result or this as a opinion of all 10 people. Okay, this is possible when your sample is homogeneous. Homogeneous मतलब सारे लोग एक ही बैकग्राउंड से आते हैं. सो फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता. सपोज हम क्लास में बैठे हैं, मुझे पूछना है कि आप में से कितने लोगों को मेरे लेक्चर पसंद आते हैं. सो आई कैन आस्क एनी 2 people और 3 people और आई विल गेट अ फिगर कि हाँ ठीक है भाई, इनको पसंद आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है, ठीक है, फास्ट जा रहे हैं नहीं जा रहे हैं, मुझे समझ में आ जाएगा. बट मे बी देर आर पीपल फ्रॉम अ डिफरेंट क्लासेस और मैं उनमें से किसी 2 से पूछता हूँ. सो मे बी देर विल बी डिफरेंट रिजल्ट, क्योंकि किसी और बैच में शायद मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा टाइम मिलता होगा ये सब चीज़ें सिखाने में, तो आई विल हैव plenty of examples, plenty of slides. But maybe there is some class where I get a very short period of time, so maybe I have to run like little fast. So it is wrong to take opinion from one class. So I have to include 2 people from one class and 2 people from another class, and then I can see a final result. Okay, so random sampling में क्या, कोई भी 2 लोग उठा लिया हमने. Okay, but हमें sampling, random sampling करके तभी फ़ायदा है when there is a homogeneous crowd. ओके, स्ट्रैटिफाइड सैम्पलिंग होता है. स्ट्रैटिफाइड सैम्पलिंग मतलब सपोज हम अलग अलग विलेजेस में जा रहे हैं और अलग अलग विलेजेस से हम कुछ डेटा कलेक्ट कर रहे हैं. तो स्ट्रैटिफाइड सैम्पलिंग में क्या होगा कि हर विलेज से मैं, या फिर यही एग्जांपल लेते हैं स्टूडेंट वाला, हर क्लास से मैं 2 स्टूडेंट लूँगा और उसके बाद मैं अपने कंक्लूजन पे आऊँगा. दैट इज स्ट्रैटिफाइड सैम्पलिंग. रैंडम सैम्पलिंग मतलब सारे लोगों को इकट्ठा किया, कोई भी 2 स्टूडेंट उठा लिए, इररेस्पेक्टिव ऑफ विच क्लास दे बिलोंग. स्ट्रैटिफाइड सैम्पलिंग में क्या होगा कि मैं पहले उनको क्लास वाइज डिवाइड कर दूंगा और उस हर क्लास से 2 बंदे लूँगा. दैट इज स्ट्रैटिफाइड सैम्पलिंग. देन माई रिजल्ट विल बी मोर क्लोज टू द रियलिटी. सो प्रोबेबिलिटी का यूटिलिटी ये है, प्रोबेबिलिटी का बेनिफिट ये है कि यू आर टेकिंग अ राइट सैम्पल बाय यूजिंग अ राइट टेक्निक टू एंश्योर दैट योर रिजल्ट्स आर मोर क्लोजर टू योर सैम्पल, और योर सैम्पल इज मोर इंक्लूसिव कंपेयर टू योर पॉपुलेशन. मतलब एवरीबडी इज गेटिंग अ रिप्रेजेंटेशन इन योर सैम्पल. सपोज मैं पूछ, जैसे कि हमने कल एग्जांपल देखा कि लाइक वुमन आर मोस्ट ऑफ टाइम रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर एक्सीडेंट्स. ठीक है, अगर मैं सारे मेल सैम्पल्स ले लूँगा और उनसे पूछूंगा तो मे बी माई रिजल्ट विल डिफरेंट. बट इफ़ आई टेक मिक्स सैम्पलिंग लाइक स्ट्रैटिफाइड सैम्पलिंग, 10 लड़कियों को लिया और 10 लड़कों को लिया और उनसे मैंने पूछा कि व्हाट इज़ योर अंडरस्टैंडिंग अबाउट रीजन ऑफ एक्सीडेंट्स, मे बी दे विल गिव अ कम्प्लीटली डिफरेंट आंसर, राइट. बट 50% of Indian population is female, 50% of Indian population is male. हाउ कैन आई कंडक्ट अ सर्वे बाय टेकिंग ओनली मेल इनटू कंसिडरेशन, या फिर 7 मेल ले लिए 3 फीमेल ले लिए, माय रिजल्ट विल बी अगेन बायस्ड. Okay, so to a proper what we call stratified sampling. Okay, random sampling कोई भी, like random sampling is also good sampling, but provided your crowd is homogeneous. Okay, सब same background से आ रहे हैं, but if people are from different background, they have some different features, then I have to take sample from every corner or every way, so that there will be a representative sampling. So this is about little introduction about probability, what is indexing, what is statistics, utility of statistics. Okay, I am sure आपके दिमाग में बहुत सारे डाउट होंगे अभी भी, not only with respect to statistics but also with respect to marketing management, with respect to business communication. So management and we have decided that one lecture we will conduct, that is two-way lecture Google Meet पे, to understand your doubts, to try to clear your doubts in that one session. So when that session will be conducted, we will inform you in advance. But at this point of time, we are done with 3 subjects: quantitative analysis or quantitative technique,